Welcome class, welcome. This is employee resourcing paper, and the R, this is RCHRP, revised syllabus. So this is the new syllabus. It's paper 5 called employee resourcing. So we'll go through it, and the paper was done in November 2022. We'll go through it and see how you are expected to answer this past paper. Okay, so we'll start with question 2. Go straight to question 2. And question 2 says, you are supposed to identify the activities that constitute the recruitment and selection process. Identify the activities that constitute the recruitment and selection process. Activities that constitute the recruitment and selection process. Now, recruitment is basically the process of attracting potential job applicants, attracting potential job employees, or rather we can just talk of applicants, attracting them, telling them, reaching out to the potential employees, to apply for the job. That is the process of recruitment. Just that, reaching out to them, telling them that, hey, we have a vacancy here and the vacancy is on this and this, blah, blah. You know all the details about the vacancy so that they can now reach out to you, apply for the job. And once they apply for the job, you can now come back and start the selection process. You select from the masses. So recruitment is a positive exercise where you are calling on people, potential job applicants or employees, to come forward, present their CVs so that they can be considered for employment. Once they have presented their CVs, you start the selection process. Selection is a negative process where you screen so that you can end up with the best who qualifies for the job. So then the question is, identify the activities that constitute the recruitment and selection process. We'll start with the first one, activities that constitute the recruitment process. I will have said the process of coming up with job description, but job description is more of planning than recruitment. So for recruitment, we'll talk of advertising, of course, reaching out to the people to tell them that there's a vacancy which they need to come forward and apply. That is one of the key activities when we talk about recruitment. The other activity possibly we'll talk about sourcing, and this sourcing is sourcing for the potential job applicants. They look like almost the same, but they are not the same. Sourcing may not necessarily be advertising, because sourcing sometimes you can handpick people from other organizations. So the whole process of sourcing, trying to look for the talent that you want, that can also be one of the key activities that will constitute the recruitment process. So we can talk of sourcing for the potential candidates, or just sourcing for suitable candidates. Then we also have understanding and analyzing. Basically, the job, I'll call the whole process job analysis. So we'll talk of JDs, job description and job specification. Understanding, analyzing, and putting them in a manner, coming up with that write-up that now will be used in the advertisements. That is also one of the activities that will constitute the recruitment process. We'll expect that you arrange this, the job description and job specification in a manner that will attract the potential applicants. We expect that process to be well understood and come out clearly. That is an activity that will have to happen at the recruitment stage. Then, and I said recruitment is a positive exercise. You are reaching out on as many people as possible so that they can come forward for the job. Selection will then take place once the recruitment process is over. And selection starts at this point where we have shortlisting. remember there was a pool of applicants, but some of them don't even meet the minimum requirements. So that's already a process of selection. So those who don't meet the minimum requirements are left out, and we call that shortlisting. It's one of the activities that will take place during the selection stage. Then after shortlisting, we have and shortlisting, we can also talk of screening basically, but let's just use the shortlisting. So after shortlisting, you have the interviewing or interviews. So here we have interviews, and interviews are meant to help us get to the very best. So there are so many types of interviews, which I hope we'll be discussing as the revision goes by. But for now, let's just say there will be this activity of interviewing those potential candidates so that we remain with the best one. There's also the activity of checking on the referrals, following up, referrals follow up, because in their CVs we'll always have the referees. So we'll call some of the referees just to confirm if the information that has been provided is actually correct. So we'll call referrals follow up or background check. This is also an activity that will take place, background check as an activity that will take place. Then after that, of course, we'll have the whole process of selection. Now, selection is, for lack of a better word, how do we put it? Selection is where now we come up with the best. What can I use? Where we end up with the best applicant, so that we can now give him the letter of appointment. So I will talk of job offer. Let me just talk of job offer and contract. Job offer and contract, where we award the contract to whoever will win. That is the end stage of the selection process. Once we award the job offer and we give him the contract, we go to the next process, which may not be covered here, which is the onboarding process. But this selection will end with the job offer and contract stage. And of course, under recruitment, there's also an activity of attracting potential candidates. It depends. Attracting potential candidates. There are so many ways of attracting, not necessarily through advertising. So we can also say that any activity you do to attract, so that anytime you reach out on people, they come forward in numbers to apply for the job. That is also one of the key activities in the recruitment process. And do we have anything else remaining? We don't have anything else remaining. So let's work with this. And maybe there's something, medical checkup. Medical checkup, it is also an activity that will be done during selection. Medical checkup, especially if the job requires some, the job is quite sensitive with some conditions. Then medical checkup has to be done during selection process. So that also will be done. All these are activities that will be undertaken. We've explained at least 4 activities that will be undertaken during recruitment, and the rest are activities that will be undertaken during the selection process. So any five of these plus an explanation will give you the 10 marks. Then part B of the question, explain the challenges associated with an aging workforce that an organization is likely to face. Challenges associated with an aging workforce that an organization is likely to face. An aging workforce are these people who are almost retiring, almost reaching that, the retirement age. So you can talk of 55, 56, 57. Retirement can be 60 or up to 65. It depends with the laws of the country that you are in. But in most cases, it's 60 years. Let me say just 60, between 60 and 65. It depends. So if that is the retirement age that we are working with, then the aging workforce are these people who are almost reaching their retirement age. So what are some of the challenges that will come with this, having this kind of workforce in the organization? Number one, sicknesses start coming in. When you grow old, you start being weak. Now with this sicknesses will start coming in, and these sicknesses will now lead to what we call absenteeism. Generally at this age, these people are fragile. Any small illness will put them down, because they don't have the strong cells to fight the diseases. So there will be a lot of absenteeism, and generally they are also tired. The fatigue is now picking up. The bones are now, so that will also make them kind of have some level of laxity even in the job. They can report to work, but yes, they will be a little bit relaxed. They are not as energetic and enthusiastic as these young people who are joining, or just the youth or the adult. So these ones, there will be some bit of laxity. They will be doing work at a slow pace, and so that generally will have the effect of reducing the productivity levels. So it will affect the productivity levels, and most likely negatively. Then of course we have the succession issues. There are normally a lot of succession issues, where this aging population feel that they are well experienced and they have been in the organization for long, so they are the ones to get the promotions, yet their age doesn't allow. So if we have these promotions and those succession issues, they feel that they are the best for those positions, yet they are aging. So it becomes quite a challenge to give a young person these positions when these senior people feel that they are the ones who actually should get those positions. That is quite a challenge to the management, and most people will end up giving the senior people the jobs which even they are not supposed to get. So we have that, and then we also have the fact that they don't take changes lightly. They don't take changes lightly, especially technological changes. They don't have the capacity to learn or get new ideas. In most cases, they want to do things their own old style, the way they have been doing things. And the world is changing, so that becomes a challenge because they don't have that room for learning, and they don't embrace change. So that basically becomes quite a challenge. So even training, if you train them, you take them to training, they will not really embrace. They are so much tied to the old way of doing things, which they are very much comfortable with. Of course, there are risks of injuries because of the way they are growing old. Like if it's a physical kind of a job, when they bend, they are not that as strong as these young guys. So that poses a lot of risks to them. And then, of course, the other thing also is that we have this risk of being unprepared for retirement. Most of them are not prepared for retirement. So is that challenge of, you bid him goodbye with all good intentions, but he feels like now the world is over for him. And actually, most of them go home, if they are not well prepared, they go and die, just like that. So that is a big challenge, and most of the times you see even the management, changing the decision and deciding even to put them around for some time, which is not good. So it's a challenge, especially that separation, and it becomes a big challenge when they are not well prepared for the retirement stage. And then, of course, it's a costly affair. Why is it costly to maintain these people? Because they have been in the organization for quite a long period of time. And remember, there are always these annual increments in salary. So you can remember, these guys have stayed in this organization for long. They have been here maybe 10 years, 20 years, So it becomes very expensive to put them around. And that becomes also a challenge, as opposed to a young person who will just come in and start the job with the starting salary. So it's quite a challenge, and because of the cost involved in maintaining them. And perhaps I'll also say that some of them even block the young tax from climbing up the ladder. No. The young tax have a lot of zeal, energy. They want to go through the ladder. And these guys stay there. They are not any time willing to move. They are waiting for their retirement. So it becomes quite a challenge. And the chances are that you are going to lose these young tax to other organizations that don't have this aging population who are kind of, you know, yeah. So those are some of the things we can work with. We can work with those ones. You can see these are many points. Just pick any 5 and we'll be good to go. Thank you. Let's meet in the next question.